Live deep in the heart of West Texas is the James Henry Show. And we are here at the SIB. Welcome on board, folks. I am glad to be here. Listen, I want to talk to you about a couple of pieces of news. One, I looked out of curiosity in the New York Times. But first, let me give you the episode title of this. Biden and Beto, Recipe for Disaster. Okay, I was looking through the piece in the New York Times early this morning, out of curiosity. It seems that Greg Abbott has won the Republican primary for governor, no surprise. But the New York Times claims that Abbott may win by a slim margin, if not even just lose to Beto O'Rourke. And you know, it's too bad there ain't a ba-dum-bum, but I'm just going to go ahead and put another version of ba-dum-bum on here. Please. Beto O'Rourke has already lost against one heavy hitter, Texas Republican, Ted Cruz. And he thinks that he can win against Greg Abbott with the mood of the country the way it's in. Man, if that happens, you got Boden and Beto, which is a recipe for disaster. And, well, what can I say? I'm going to say this as kind of a family phrase back when Beto was running for Senator of Texas in 2018. Of course, I'm going to clean it up for mixed company. Kind of like, Beto, your trasero, that Abbott is going to whip him. That's the trasero, because I think that's a Spanish equivalent for that. Kind of Castilian. That's why I cleaned it up. Those of you who know what it is, I'm sorry. But I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt for people who only speak English. You know? But let's try another way. That was my bad. Beto, you're hiding that Abbott is going to whip him in the election. I don't see how Beto could possibly sweep the land of Texas and expect to become our next governor. Okay, yes, he may win in urban centers, but those of you who don't know the state of Texas, there's a lot of us rural people, such as myself, who don't take kindly to Beto's model on gun control or the like. Now, am I fond of everything that Greg Abbott has done? As a conservative federalist, maybe in some ways it's no. But I have to say he's better than his predecessor, Rick Perry, who back in 2003 tried to mandate the HPV vaccine for 11, 12, and 13, even teenagers. Okay, those kind of mandates, I'm sorry. I don't think, Republican or Democrat, I'm sorry, I don't think it's government's job to mandate what people need to do for their health. Okay, that's something that it should be in consultation between the people and their doctors. Okay? And it just burns me up. It makes me angry that people like Biden and Beto want to try to mandate us. We as the American people, we have been through enough. We've been through enough reactivity. on the right and on the left. You know? Both parties are just as much to blame. But what do? I'm just being honest with you. What do? They like to stir up the pot. Maybe a little bit more on the liberal side, but we conservatives are, again, in some ways can be just as much to blame. How many of you listened to the Republican response? I didn't have the heart to watch the Biden State of the Union, okay? I didn't have the heart to watch the Biden State of the Union, the Union deal, because, but I've heard bits and pieces from a podcast of the Washington Times. And I consider the Washington Times a worthy source, you know? I consider the Washington Times a worthy source, far better than the New York Times. It's pretty obvious to me who they endorse. It's pretty obvious to me who they endorse. And so, wouldn't you know it, technology doesn't always... There we go, okay. Now, I just sometimes think that as a conservative federalist, people say, well, you're a Democrat. No. You're a Republican. No. Well, then you must be an independent. You know, I'm deeply sorry, but it's not meant to be that way. It's not meant to be that way, and we know it. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm trying to find the way to the Republican response. There we go. I'm going to play for a few minutes of it, and then I'll come back with a little bit of analysis. Oh.
Find the hotel, vacation rental.
Decades ago, when our nation was last reeling from inflation, I was a young...
Technology troubles again, of course. Here we go.
Time to the late 70s and early 80s. When Good evening, I'm Kim Reynolds, Governor of the great state of Iowa. Like you, I just watched the President's address. I listened as the governor of our state, as a mom and a grandmother of 11, who's worried our country is on the wrong track. We're now 1 year into his presidency, and instead of moving America forward, it feels like President Biden and his party have sent us back in time, to the late 70s and early 80s, when runaway inflation was hammering families, a violent crime wave was crashing our cities, and the Soviet Army was trying to redraw the world map. Even before taking the oath of office, the president told us that he wanted to, quote, make America respected around the world again, and to unite us here at home. He's failed on both fronts. The disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal did more than cost American lives. It betrayed our allies and emboldened our enemies. North Korea is testing missiles again at an alarming rate. The Speaker of the House recently warned our Olympic athletes not to speak out against China. And now Russia has launched an unprovoked, full-scale military invasion of Ukraine, an attack on democracy, freedom, and the rule of law. Now all Americans must stand united in solidarity with the brave people of Ukraine as they courageously defend their country against Putin's tyranny as they fight for their freedom. But we shouldn't ignore what happened in the run-up to Putin's invasion, waiving sanctions on Russian pipelines while eliminating oil production here at home, focusing on political correctness rather than military readiness, reacting to world events instead of driving them, Weakness on the world stage has a cost, and the president's approach to foreign policy has consistently been too little, too late.
I have to be in agreement with what she says here. Okay? I don't think that Biden is in the right state of his mind. Now, one thing I did like about his State of the Union is he walked back from some of the radical rhetoric and said, hey, let's fund the police. Now, that's something for you to sit and think about. Let's stop this unfunding the police. Let's fund the police. So much craziness and reactivity since COVID began. And how many of you join me in saying that you're sick and tired of it? Plain truth. Reactives don't mix well in politics. Not in the way it should be. Now, I gotta say, what Biden said in funding the police, smart public affairs move. But his policies are still, you join in with the likes of Beto, recipe for disaster. Now, I hope you enjoyed listening to the James Hendricks Show. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and become a part of receiving most daily updates. This is Jimi Hendrix saying until next time, take care and be proactively informed. And by all means, please pray for this nation. And you guys have a blessed day.